What is going on, you guys? It's that time again for another squared circle collecting chat. Did I get it all?
You got it all. Again, it's N or S triple C. Garrett wants to shorten it. I want to lengthen it.
So this is going to be episode 6, and this episode we're calling Fantastic Fatties. I mean, it's something that Mike and we're resident experts on this.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, if we can tip them at 200 pounds, then we know, right?
Takes one to know one, they say.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll get into this later, but it's basically, there's been a lot of big-bodied wrestlers in the day, and we just want to talk about our favorite ones, maybe ones that stand out more than others. But we'll kind of just get started here. Do you got anything you want to get us kicked off with, Mike?
Yeah, just want to let everyone know December 11th, we've got our next episode. We've got it pre-taped, and I think everyone will have a good kick out of this interview because we've got probably I could say he is number one in the wrestling collecting of cards. He's number one in PSA. He is in the PSA. Is he in the Hall of Fame or something with his registry? His name is David Peck, and David's from Orlando, Florida. He was gracious enough to come on, and we'll circle back at the end of the chat and maybe kind of fill you guys in on a little bit more about that. The other thing, I know we just had the release of Topps Chrome, and we've got December 9th, Topps Finest. So my question to you is, what do you think is there going to be any similarities? Is there going to be refractors, autos? Do we know? What do you think, how do you think this is going to be accepted versus Topps Chrome?
Well, so one thing I will tell you, and I feel like I know Topps Chrome really, really well at this point.
Yeah, you do.
I released that video talking about the case that wasn't a case.
Didn't you lie? Didn't you lie to us?
Yeah, I lied to y'all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you lied. It's all good.
But that video was taken very, very well by the community, so thank you for that. But like seeing how Chrome came out and almost the prices almost dropped like straight down.
Yeah.
I can go into this more at the end on pickups, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But like I've been able to pick up some superfractors for $60 and $70, and then there's been some, I would say mid to mid high guys. Their superfractors are going for like $115. And if you would have asked me that, a couple of weeks before it came out, if that was going to be the case, I'd have said you've lost your mind. There's no way. It's going to be way more than that.
Now there are some that are way more than that. Right, there have been some pretty ridiculously priced ones.
The Roman Reigns superfractor, it went for $600. The guy had it on there for $5,000 or best offer. But I think when you do that, that's basically I'm going to put this ridiculous price out there, and then y'all are going to freaking tell me what y'all want to pay.
Right,
$600, kind of set the tone. So it makes me wonder what'll happen to like the Undertaker. Ric Flair, John Cena, The Rock, Triple H. When those get pulled, if they're pulled, they might be pulled. Now, I don't know.
The other question I have for you on the Topps Chrome didn't the Big Show come out? Someone wanted $1,000 for the Big Show, the refractor. I thought it was originally.
Yeah, that guy first put it out for $1,000.
Right.
And what was the story behind that one? He put it out for $1,000. No one bid. He put a best offer out there also.
Yeah.
And for that, I think I personally ended up bidding. I sent him like $150 offer because I really liked the Big Show.
Yeah.
And he denied it. Well, then he put it on an auction like 2 weeks later, and I ended up getting it, I think, for like $105. So these guys just aren't going for what you expect. But the long circle back to your question, what do I expect on Finest as opposed to Chrome? I have nothing else to say other than I imagine it's going to be the same. I mean, I have nothing that tells me it wouldn't be the same. You know,
Well, my
Chrome hadn't come out in 5 years.
right.
That's a long time, and Finest has never come out. So
is it? Do you think it'll have the? I mean, I don't think it'll ever have the value or the catch that Topps Baseball Finest came out back in the 90s, and then they redid it this year. But do you think it'll have any of the grab with the refractors or autos, because it is the first time?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people that would go after it that normally wouldn't go after it because it's the first. I mean, look what you're seeing right now with WNBA Prism. There's guys collecting WNBA Prism right now that have never collected WNBA anything, and it's because it's that first time ever. That really brings in that allure, because you don't know what 10 years, 15, 20 years is going to bring when they're like, yeah, this thing started somewhere,
Yeah. It's like the 2012 Panini baseball.
Yeah.
Like that was Mike Trout's first Panini Prism. That's a big value card right now. So I've got to, and I don't think it's because, I mean, partially it's because it's one of his earlier releases in 2012, but it's the first showing of him in Panini Prism. So like Topps Finest, it could have the exact same effect, or it could be just like the Chrome, high expectation, low sell. People are, moving it quicker just to get it out of their inventory. Who knows?
And I know Finest, the brand Topps Finest, has a history of some really cool inserts.
Yeah, it does.
I haven't seen any. I mean, we're talking 2 weeks it's supposed to be out. And I haven't seen any early releases of images of the inserts.
Yeah.
So geeked out about that and see what that could bring. And I kind of hope they don't have as much NXT and Finest as they did in Chrome. And I'm also excited to see that autograph checklist also.
Right. That I think if they keep the autograph checklist similar to, maybe not names, my thing is I think there was a lot of autographs missing from the Topps Chrome that maybe we'll see these guys in the Topps Finest,
That would
like maybe a Hulk Hogan or a Rock or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be big. So
yeah.
I kind of want to move on to my thoughts of, since the last Squared Circle chat we did, they had Survivor Series 2020.
Right.
I thought that was pretty interesting. That's my third pay-per-view to watch since I've got back into WWE and wrestling with you and the community we've built here. So kind of I'm not going to go through all the matches, but I kind of want to go through some of the matches that kind of stuck out to me. So the Street Profits and New Day, I actually thought the Street Profits were going to win that, and they did. Just because I thought the New Day is on top, man. They've been on top of the tag team, whatever you want to call it, field for a long time. They absolutely had nothing to win by winning. They weren't going to get more over than they're already over.
Right.
The Street Profits winning, that really gets them over. Kind of they're beating the best of the best. So I kind of seen that coming. Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn. I was really interested to see that because the Hurt Business came down and circled the ring. Yeah. And Sami Zayn is known for being a big time cheater. He cheats a lot. Yeah. But there were so many people outside of the ring, he couldn't cheat, and it kept showing him trying to cheat, and they kept cutting him off. And that was very good storytelling. Asuka and Sasha Banks. I really have nothing about this match other than both of these women know what the hell they're doing, and it showed. It was a really, really good match. I didn't feel like a storyline, but both of them definitely knew what they were doing, and it was a fun match to watch. Then there was Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. That was kind of the main event.
Right.
Which it's weird because if you watch Monday Night Raw and you watch SmackDown, you can feel that Vince McMahon is trying to grow both of those guys. He's trying to grow Roman Reigns and he's trying to grow Drew McIntyre. So I was really interested to see how he was going to do that. And
do you think there's going to be a time where, because I honestly thought Drew McIntyre is going to win that match.
yeah,
I just thought, okay, this can be the storyline. The next one, they can battle it out. You know, maybe Roman Reigns is looking to kind of ascend out of the business at certain time. But what are your thoughts? Like, how do you see it ending up? Because Drew McIntyre was going back and forth with Randy Orton. Now I see him against Roman Reigns. Do you see this storyline back and forth?
Man, I don't. You know, going back to what we've said on every show, we're not like experts. We're still learning.
Right.
And I just don't think that storyline has a lot of legs on it.
Okay.
I thought Drew was going to win all the way till the very end when Jey Uso came in and freaking super kicked him in the face.
Yeah.
In a storytelling mindset, that kind of tells you like Roman Reigns couldn't have beat Drew McIntyre without cheating.
Right.
Kind of how I took that.
Jey Uso coming in.
Although he lost, like I kind of took it as a victory. As a fan.
I just thought they played it up well when they kept showing Roman Reigns, and you could hear the microphone picking up bits and pieces of him, like almost saying, like, I can't believe, like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? Like that whole play up, I thought Drew McIntyre's going to win this match. And then Jey Uso comes in and kind of, robs McIntyre, and you could see that's why I don't know. You think it might not be a storyline. I think it's the early stages, but who knows, right? We just have to wait and see what happens.
And then what did you think of the end of the Undertaker's farewell?
So I'm going to put the negative spin on things. I thought it was really well done, but actually there's two negative things. I talked about one, but the one I thought was just the women's match, the 5-on-5 where Lana was told to just stay outside the ring.
Yeah.
And it just went on forever. It just seemed to go on and on. And listen, I know the women's division is up and coming and they've changed it from women's to diva, but I just think that match just kind of, I don't know. I was getting to the old, all right, enough already. Let's end this. Let's move on. And
on that, what I was surprised about that match and is because like this is 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're trying to empower women and all this stuff. And they really freaking, with that storyline, they really turned it into like a bullying thing.
Exactly. With keeping Lana outside, that's exactly what they're doing.
Feel, I'm not, I mean, you know me, I'm not the sensitive type, but I'm like, why are they glorifying that this chick's being bullied? Like, I don't get it.
I mean, it could be part of the storyline coming up. You know what I mean? Who knows what's going to happen, because Lana ended up winning because she was the last woman standing.
Yeah, and that looked so shitty.
It did.
And she's in there like,
like I won me. It's like, come on.
Comes back in the future and just beats the dog shit out of Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Like that person being bullied finally gets to beat their bully.
Exactly. The other thing too, that on a negative spin, I know it was like the farewell to the Undertaker, and you and I talked before, and I thought to myself, I actually thought, I was looking at the time and how much time was left, and I'm like, is the Undertaker going to come in and disrupt the Roman Reigns Drew McIntyre match? But it didn't happen. And I thought what they did, which was really cool, was they were bringing in all these old time wrestlers. They brought in Flair and Kevin Nash and the Big Show, and was it the Dudleys? Did they bring in the Dudleys? They brought tons of guys in, which I thought was really good. Where I thought they lost it was, I wish that the Undertaker, I know they got to do like the big, the organ playing and the lights and the ominous. I wish he would have broke character and just spoke as himself to the audience, because it just seemed too scripted and phony. I mean, if this is your last hurrah, go out as Mark Calloway. I mean, we even talked, it would have been cool to see him in that gray tie.
Yeah, how he came into wrestling.
Yeah, it would have been cool, just the fire engine red hair and the cutoff dress shirt. But it just, for me, it was a little too overdone. That was just my take on it. But I mean, overall, Survivor Series, I'd probably give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Just overall on the production and everything. So
yeah, I think my key takeaway on the Undertaker deal was, and I think this is hilarious, I don't know if anyone else, I mean, surely other people caught this, like, did Kane not get the message? Did Glenn Jacobs not get the message? Because everyone else came out like in street clothes. He came out dressed as Kane.
Yeah.
So it was like, I felt like maybe it was like 4 hours before they went live. They're like, hey guys, just go out and go in your street clothes and enjoy it.
Right.
And he might have been dropping a deuce or something and didn't get the message because he came out dressed as Kane. And I thought it was funny when they showed everybody and everyone's sitting there, all, how you and I are right now, and he's dressed up as Kane. Just
yeah, I know.
That was hilarious.
I know. Yeah, it was good though. It was good.
But yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10, I guess.
Yeah.
It's one of those, if you didn't see it, you didn't miss a ton.
Right.
It was entertaining. Yeah. I think the story of WWE as a whole could be told without this pay-per-view. There's some pay-per-views that you're like, oh yeah, this would have to be in the freaking storyline.
Right.
What I mean, and this particular Survivor Series isn't that. That's not the case.
Right. I agree.
So I'm ready to get on to the main event for tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
So
the Fantastic Fatties.
Fantastic Fatties. Okay, so I'm going to let you start it, but before that, we'll just kind of talk what we did at the beginning. This is just WWE, WWF has had a ton of big dudes, 300-pounder plus guys in their history, and I mean a ton of them. Yeah. So Mike and I kind of picked 5 that stuck out to us, maybe in a good way, maybe in a funny way, maybe in a legendary way. So let's hear what you got, Mike.
So I think, there's probably, when I started looking at the list, I kind of brought down a list. I think I had 13 guys on there originally, cut it down to 10, and then I went to 5. And, I'm not numbering these in any certain order. I'm just, the last 2, I'm putting them in a certain order. Okay. And there's a reason for it. Have to go with my number 5 pick, Yokozuna. He died at a very young age. He was born in 1966, died in the year 2000. Mr. Fuji, always there by his side, 600 pounds. And I mean, all of these guys, I think we can honestly say a lot of these guys, for their size, they had some sort of agility. Like, we're both big guys. I mean, I'm older than that, but some of the stuff these guys pulled off at their weight. And unfortunately, I think Yokozuna even ballooned past the 600, and that's what caused, the heart attack. He is in the I was going to say the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in the WWE Hall of Fame. He was inducted by his cousins Rikishi and the Usos. And there's a lot of that Samoan tradition where they're all related, like Rikishi, the Usos, Roman Reigns, The Rock. They're all part of the same wrestling family. Yeah. And he's definitely got to be in my number 5. Number 4, I would put as Viscera or Mabel. He was known as a bunch of other names. I think more popular, he was known as Viscera and Mabel. Again, passed away at 4 days after he turned 43 years old. That's pretty young.
Yeah.
But again, 500 pounds, like 485, died of a heart attack. The one thing that the other thing that I contribute to these guys, a lot of these guys had long careers in wrestling.
Yeah.
And, which is hard to imagine. I mean, the grueling grind of the road for wrestlers where they're, 350 days a year, some of them. And for these big guys to do it day in and day out and really not taking care of themselves, it's a tribute to, there has to be some sort of athleticism with them to keep it up. Unfortunately, cuts their lives short, but
right. One thing I remember about, I don't remember if his gimmick was Mabel or Viscera, but I remember for a long time he came down to the ring and that it looked like a one-piece black.
Yeah.
And it looked like a trash bag, dude. And when I got a little older, that was when Missy Elliott came out and she did that video where she was like wearing that black solar suit or whatever. And
yeah,
like that, I thought he looked like Missy Elliott coming to the ring every time. That doesn't add to it, but just
yeah, I know. Number 3, have to go back to the 80s with Mr. King Kong Bundy. Chris Pales, I think is his real name. Again, he wrestled for 26 years. 26 years. And a lot of his early names were, something Bundy. And, he wrestled for 26 years. He died. He only passed away last March. That's one that I was shocked at. Passed away in March of 2019 at the age of 63. So, I mean, I guess maybe took care of himself a little better for the bigger guys.
right.
A lot of people, I don't know if they remembered, he got into a little bit of acting. He was on the show Boy Meets World. He had a bit part. He was also on Married with Children. He was known as Uncle Irwin, and he was Peg Bundy's brother. So he was like the kids, the Bundys, that was their Uncle Irwin. Yeah. Now I think he was on like 2 different episodes. And then for about the last 2 years of his life, he actually turned to stand-up comedy. And he was on a comedy circuit for the last 2 years before he passed away.
Hey, look at this. Do you see this from Ron Fig?
I was friends with Yokozuna. I talked to him the day before he died too. He could still take from. I have my old answering machine tape with him on it. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing, Ron. I had no clue.
One of these days, Ron, I'm going to make it to the National, and you can tell me that over drink. I'll pay for the drink. You tell the story, because that's freaking awesome, dude. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's amazing. That's amazing. My next 2 guys, there's a little bit of, I think the backstory on my next guy is John Tenta, also known as Earthquake. And the reason I'm picking him is because he's Canadian. He's born in Surrey, British Columbia in June 22nd, 1963. Passed away in June of 2006 at the age of 42. Same thing, young age, like that's very young to pass away. He started out as a sumo wrestler. He went across to Japan and was a sumo wrestler before he came back to North America and got into the WWF, WWE business. And again, same thing. These guys wrestle under a couple of different monikers or a bunch. He was first known as Avalanche, then he was known as the Canadian Earthquake, and then he was Earthquake. So had to put him in there to give a little bit of content for our Canadian nationalists that watch here.
Yeah, you always put a Canadian spin on every episode we do.
I have to. I gotta give credit sometimes. And my number 1, and you said something to me too before I go on. John Tenta, wasn't he part of what was the tag team called again?
Natural Disasters.
That's right. He was part of the Natural Disasters. That's cool. And my last one, my number one, and this is only because I seen this guy wrestle. I told you the story about meeting Dewey Robertson, the missing link. My dad used to take me to the old Hamilton Forum to watch Maple Leaf Wrestling. Was from McKinney, Texas, Haystacks Calhoun. And he got up to 600 pounds. He was the original farm boy. He would come into the ring with just a white t-shirt and overalls and wrestling boots, and he would just, pummel guys all the time. Was born in 1934, passed away at 55 years old. He died December of 1989. And what I thought was cool, I didn't know this till I read more up on him. In March of 2017, he was inducted posthumously into the WWE Hall of Fame under the Legacy Wing. So I guess, there's certain guys who are, maybe they're not worthy of actually being in the Hall of Fame, but they're part of a Legacy Wing. And when I read that, I thought that was cool. Not a lot of titles he held. I think he was one time back when it was the Worldwide Wrestling Federation back in the day, the 3 Ws. He was the tag team champion with Tony Gurria. I think it was one time they won it and then they lost it on their first defense. But he was 6'4", 601 pounds. I probably missed a few from Canada, Otto, but I was only going to throw one in there, and I chose John Tenta. But yeah, so that's my 5. That's who I have, I guess, respect or admiration for.
Yeah, those some heavyweights. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, heavyweights, literally and figuratively.
So I'm going to go ahead and say the only one that we had the same was Yokozuna.
Yokozuna, yeah.
And when I looked up and did some research before we went live, it said that he was at 558 pounds.
Yeah.
I did a documentary on the WWE network, and I can't remember all the details. This was a couple months ago, and they basically said that he wanted to be known as the biggest wrestler of all time. And then, I didn't know when he died, but I know he passed away in London, England. He was on the indie wrestling circuit at the time.
Right.
So that was the only one that we had the same.
Right.
So we'll get myself kicked off here with Typhoon.
Yeah.
The other part of that Natural Disasters.
That's right.
And then who else was he called? Typhoon. What was his other gimmick?
Was he Tugboat too?
He was Tugboat.
He was Tugboat. Yeah.
Who else?
You
got to think Inner Circle.
I don't know.
He was also the Shockmaster.
Oh, that's right. He was the Shockmaster.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, when he came out as Tugboat, he was Thomas. What was it? Tugboat Thomas.
Right.
And then he turned heel. He was wrestling Hogan, I believe the story goes. And that's when he turned heel, was when once he wrestled Hogan. And that's when he became part of the Natural Disasters and so on and so forth. Next, I'll go with Vader. Also known as Big Van Vader. I always thought it was insane because he was a big dude, man. And he would do those moonsaults.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like I could barely get out of bed in the morning, much less do a freaking flip from the top rope.
Right.
And then his signature move, the Vader bomb. And then I have him down here he was 456 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Boy.
Huge.
Moving on, our good friend Triple Crown 24's favorite wrestler of all time, Bastian Booger. He kind of had a short stint, but I just remember when I seen him, he was just absolutely disgusting. Gross, dude. Like he had the singlet, that came down and like his nipples, his titties, his man titties was showing, and that was like the gimmick. Like he'd get in an arm like a arm bar or a headlock or something.
Yeah. People were grossed out by him. Yeah.
Like the singlet was supposed to be white, but it was like if you wore it for like 5 months straight.
It was beige.
It was gross, dude. But his real name was Mike Shaw. And then I remember they had a storyline there for a little bit where he fell in love with Bam Bam Bigelow's girlfriend, which would be, you know who he was?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. Luna Vachon.
Oh, he was with Luna Vachon?
Well, this was a storyline.
Okay.
Yeah, he fell in love with Luna Vachon, and he had a storyline with Bastian Booger and Bam Bam Bigelow for a while.
Nice.
And that's a whole lot of ugly people right there.
Yeah. And a little bit of crazy with her. She was a nut job.
And then my last one, because you took away my fifth one with Yokozuna.
Yeah.
But my last one would be Rikishi.
Come out, do the dancing.
Yeah, he did the dancing. I think what was the group he had? It was like Too Cool with Grandmaster Sexy and
something like that.
Else. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, you remember his signature move? You remember what it was called?
I don't. All I can remember is just seeing him putting his ass in someone's face, and I could see that cellulite.
You see right there, Ron?
The stink face. There it is.
Stink face, dude. He'd put him out in the corner, and he'd like rub their ass cheeks in there.
Oh,
dude, I'm telling you right now. Let's just talk some real talk, dude.
Jeez.
Okay, I have Rikishi here is 425 pounds. You wrestle and you move cardiovascular for 20-25 minutes of a match.
Man.
And I put you in the corner and I put my butt cheeks on your face.
Man.
I did one of these moves with my butt cheeks across your nose.
Oh,
I'm not a smart man, but I'm telling you right now, people were smelling his butthole.
There's a lot of jobbers that probably got paid very little for that too, right? So they're like, okay, you're wrestling Rikishi tonight, and they're like, what? Yeah, he's doing the stink face on you.
Yeah, and he's like, I just came from a Mexican food buffet, so watch out.
He might let a little Hershey squirt on you or something like that. You never know. I got to kick.
You do the stink face and drop a little.
Oh man.
Yeah, it'd be like I tap, dog.
Yeah. I think I'd retire from the ring if that happened. I know there is a story one time I did hear of Andre the Giant actually doing that.
I did hear something about that.
He used to get in the ring on them and jump on their chest or their head area, and he actually got down and he let go. He shit, and they were like, get off. I think it happened in Japan somewhere. I'm not too sure the story, but I can't imagine you couldn't pay me enough to, that's sacrifice when you want to get into wrestling and you have to get someone's stink face right in you. I was
gonna see if we could like reenact it at the National. I was gonna be Rikishi.
No. JT was gonna be the jobber.
I was willing to pay $20, dude.
20? You make it 25, you can put your ass in my face. How's that? Not a chance. Scott Spalding's like, glad I'm not eating right now.
That was a very fun topic. I like that. That was good.
Yeah. No, that was.
So I had a couple honorable mentions. I had two of them, Mark Henry and Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yep. Yeah. A couple of good ones. Bam Bam with those flames on his head.
Yeah. And I remember when Mark Henry came into WWF, like he was a big dude. Because he was an Olympic weightlifter, so he was
right.
Freaking big. But he wasn't like fat big. Like he was big body.
He was just big.
Heavy weightlifting mother effer, dude. And put on a lot of fat weight.
Right.
Once he started getting going in WWE. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, I think those guys, when I touched on it earlier, I mean, they're on the road so much. If they're not, yeah, he's got that bout with Andy at the National. I think if these guys aren't really taking care of themselves, and you know which ones aren't, because you can see themselves letting themselves go, right? I think they're almost to the point where they just get comfortable in their surroundings and they get into, a routine. And if their routine isn't hitting the gym, 3 times a week or something, they're going to fall out of favor, and you can see it.
I'll tell you a story, and my story is nothing near like these guys are doing, and I don't want it to sound like I'm comparing it, because it's way to a lesser extent.
Right.
But years and years ago, I was with the Blue Angels.
Yeah.
And I was with them for 3 years, and we'd go to air shows every weekend, from March till late November,
right,
or early December. I'm sorry. And it's very, very hard, man, going from city to city to city, eating healthy, because I think we all know eating unhealthy there's a lot more options for eating unhealthy than there's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then finding a gym, going to the gym, a lot of times it's not convenient. And, I'd probably go to 2 air shows a month. So
right.
Weekends a month. Now, these dudes are literally on the road all the freaking time. So I knew it was hard for me to live a healthy, food and workout lifestyle.
Yep.
We were on the road, and it was nothing compared to what these guys are doing all the freaking time for years at a time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, constant, grueling lifestyle, probably, and we're just talking about the eating aspect. These guys, you don't know what else they're putting in their body, drug wise, alcohol wise. Like, it can be a very, very, and I think with the lifestyle a lot of wrestlers lead, like you can see it. A lot of wrestlers don't live very long. There's so many cases where guys have died before the age of 50, whether it's drug induced or some mental health, or just the way they just don't take care of themselves. And the torture on their body. They're just going to end up living a short life. And I just seen an interview the other day, or a newspaper article online that came out about the Undertaker. And he said he's going to walk with a limp the rest of his life. Yes, Ric Flair did a lot of eating out while he was on the road. Yes, I had the chance.
So on that note, let's go ahead and man.
We got
the pickups. I think JT just curtain call.
Yeah, so
Mike?
So I'm putting together that 55 Parkhurst set that you graciously got me started on. So I picked up a lot of 7 that I'm going to show off here. So I've got card 116 is Ken Colley. Look at how high those trunks come up. That's amazing. They're all very high trunked guys.
I'd be like, hey, Ken, you need to tuck your titties into your waistband.
Yeah, card number 100, Don Lee. Doesn't look like he's got to be a jobber of some sort. That just doesn't. He doesn't have the physique that should be.
Look like he's constipated.
Yeah. Then we have the Scott brothers.
Nice.
Card number 96. This one's good. And this guy's got a pretty good physique. This guy was known as Zora. I don't know if he was the gay blade, or that's Zorro, the gay blade, but that's Zora. A lot of these guys, you could tell they're using their own name. Like, there's no name here that is definitely a made up name. This is Reggie Leskowski. Now, that is definitely his real name. Card number 52.
Yeah.
Mr. Sammy Berg, that guy took care of himself. I wonder if a lot of these guys went in from bodybuilding into the wrestling world.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, man.
Yeah. And the last one, it's the guy, if you're looking at this card, it's the guy on the right who looks older. That is Lee Henning, and I do recall watching him wrestle when my dad took me to matches, and Kurt Hennig is part of that lineage.
Oh, nice.
I think this Lee Hennig is Kurt Henning's father, I believe. Father or uncle, I'm not sure, but he's part of the Lee Hennig or the Hennig family. So there you have it. That's the lot I got. It's 121 card set. I think I'm about at about 30 cards now, so I'm roughly around 1/4 of the set done. It's tough putting this set together. Well, I should say it's not that tough when your good buddy sends you a care package of the first 18 or 19 just to get me going. But yeah, I've picked up, I'm probably somewhere around 1/4 of the way. And like many people have said, especially our good friend Eric, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So as I can pick them up and I see them in decent shape, I grab them. So how about you? I'm excited to show, you could show off a ton here.
Yeah, 1/4 of the way. Those are rookie numbers, Mike. We need to pick that up a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I'll have it done by tomorrow. Sorry.
So I have, I don't know, a couple things here. So we'll just get into it. I got in this Alundra Blaze from the 2020 Topps Chrome.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a Superfractor
101.
I really wanted to go after these legends. I mean, I like watching the modern day guys and I'm enjoying it and all that, but I mean, the nostalgia feel is definitely in these legends, and there's a lot of them in this set. So
right.
I can't pick up enough of these Superfractors of these legends. So Charles White, the Godfather, Papa Shango. He did a signing not too long ago. And so I sent in a couple items to get signed. So this is the 1997 Cardinal.
Very nice. Very nice.
And this was the one I was super excited about. I think this is 92. But this is, it is 92. The 1992 German Disney.
That's awesome.
If you watched our rookie card video, this is his rookie card. And very, very, very tough to find. And believe it or not, it's not the cheapest card to buy either.
Yeah.
So we talked about, I alluded to this at the beginning, about the 2020 Topps Chrome and how the prices dropped. So if you watched my 2020 Topps Chrome case that wasn't a case video, you know how much blowout cards was pre-selling these cases for. So I actually bought 2 cases of it.
Yeah.
And the reason I bought 2 cases is because it was the exact cost that one case was to buy like a pre-order through blowout. That's how much that these dropped. And now you just can't go out all day and night and make the same transaction. Like I was kind of in the right place at the right time when this happened.
Nice.
But that should tell you like how much it dropped. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if Finest does the same. And then my last pickup, which I think this is so freaking cool. There's an artist in I believe he's in either Australia or England.
Mm-hmm.
His name is TTD. And he does a lot of cool things. And he came out with this series of cartoon images of all these wrestlers, Mike, that you and I like to talk about.
Right.
And these weren't cheap, but one day when I'm not in the military and my wife and I can finally settle down and buy a house, I'm going to have a card room one day.
Nice.
And these I would love to get framed all together with the same type of frame because I think it'll look so cool. So I believe there's 6 of these.
Very nice.
So I don't even think I've shown you these, did I?
No, I have not seen those. Those are very cool. Wow. That's amazing. Look at all those. Are they different on every print?
Yeah, they're all different, but I'm just now noticed that it looks like there's a couple guys that are on all of them. Like
Oh yeah.
the Ultimate Warrior and Hogan has been on all three so far.
Yeah, a couple of good guys to put
Look,
on all of them.
look, there's the natural disasters at the top we talked about.
They are. And there's our good friend Coco Beware, who told us we know nothing about wrestling. Very cool.
And I think nope, we got two more.
Those are nice. What are they? 8x10s?
Yeah, they're 8x10s. You know,
I see a little IRS there.
yeah. If
And,
you
and
got them like in a black frame with a nice white border,
for sure.
man, I just think they would look so cool.
Now, how many of those is it possible to get autographed? Oh, is that the Repo Man? The top with the mask. That's the Repo Man. And Tatanka's there. Now, who's the Viking?
That's the Berserker, I believe it is.
Oh, is that the Berserker? Okay, all right.
So cool. Yeah, you could get them signed, and there's a lot of them. But honestly, I just want to keep just simple.
Sure,
I think they look so freaking cool like that.
Very nice.
So I just imagine getting 6 of those things framed up, kind of in a 6-pack.
Yeah.
I think if you walked into a room and you were ever into wrestling, like you're going to go straight to those pictures and look at them.
And it looks like those are all done like 80s, early 90s wrestlers. So there's a lot of recognizable faces in there for a lot of people. So
yeah, so
good stuff.
That is our pickups. We'll go into closing it out. I know you talked about a little bit at the beginning. The David Peck interview that we have coming up on the 7th, is it? No, the 11th.
The 11th. It'll be 13 days from now, 2 weeks yesterday.
Yeah, I don't want to go into too much because it's very, very long. It's our longest video that we've done. It's 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But in that video, he talks that he has 25 1982 Hulk Hogan rookie cards.
Yeah.
If you've seen the price of that card lately, the cheapest that you're going to find it, and that's probably like in a 4 or a 5, is like $1,000.
Yeah.
And he has some high grades, like he has some 8s and 9s. Some of those are signed. So
yeah, it's I would it's recorded, obviously. So grab some popcorn and watch it, guys, because it really, I mean, some of the things he's talking about just blew Garrett and I away. And I will say, he can talk, and I kind of talk to him on the phone, kind of give him a rundown and what we're going to do. And I got the feeling getting off the phone with him that he'd be able to carry this interview and carry it very, very well. Just so much knowledge about it, and look forward to having a good response for it, because he's got the best wrestling card collection out there by far. And he talks about some other guys that, have good collections. But we know he's number one in the hobby. So I think the other thing that the people should know too is 6 days.
Yeah,
6 days. And our good friend Garrett and his family, they're shipping off to Lemoore, California. Garrett's being posted there, and you guys leave in 6 days. You both going to Houston for a little bit to see family.
Yeah, like 7 days from right now, we'll be in a hotel somewhere between here and Houston.
Right, and then from Houston, you guys are going to do another road trip all the way out to Lemoore.
Yeah, we'll be in Houston for, I don't know, 5-6 days. There's no hard number on that, really.
Right. But the plan will be you'll be settling in just before Christmas, correct?
Yeah. So it's going to be a very hectic December for us. So the reason that we're telling y'all this is because Mike and I's Squared Circle collecting chat may not go down. So we like to do 2 a month. So we definitely have the one already pre-scheduled to be released on the 11th with Mr. Peck. We may not be able to get to the second one in December
because that would be Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That would be Christmas Day. So we probably skip the Christmas Day one and resume sometime in January.
Yeah.
I think before we sign off, a couple things I want to say. Thank you, Garrett, for your service to your country and that. Even though I'm Canadian, I appreciate anyone who sacrificed their time and for their country, whether it's Canada, the U.S. I mean, we're next door neighbors, so I know as a friend you got my back, and I know if anyone tries to come and fuck with Canada, we can just call on the U.S. and say, hey, can you lend us a couple of boats because our canoes are out of order right now, so we can't fend up. Yeah, exactly. And secondly, I'd like to say to our audience out there who follows us regularly, especially guys like Ron Fig and Grant Gaskell and Otto Olson, Derek's Cards, these guys, Scott Spalding, these guys always seem to be on here, get good interaction. Jeremy IPTTM, Triple Crown 24. It's really been appreciated what you guys have done. You guys make us want to continue doing this. And on behalf of myself, I want to wish you all a safe and happy holidays, because we won't be talking to you until then. And, all the best for hopefully 2021 is not as crazy as 2020 has been going forward.
Like, I don't want to beat a dead horse because Mike just said it very well. And if you followed my channel for any time at all, I'm not the guy to follow how many views I have, how many subscribers. I can't tell you how many subscribers I have right now. But over a month and a half ago, Mike brought it to my attention that he couldn't believe how many views, one of our Squared Circle chats had. And so I was like, well, let me go check it out. And so now I know I average, 350 views a video, and Squared Circle collecting chats are averaging well over 1,000.
Yeah.
So no idea how that's happening.
Yeah, we don't.
Thank you all very much for supporting Mike and I. We're just a bunch of two goofballs that, we're still learning. We know way more now in episode 6 than we did in episode 1.
Right.
My goal when Mike and I started this was to do 10 episodes. If it was being well received, but I mean, now that if it stays like this, there's no reason why we can't keep going. So thank y'all 1,000 times over. Mike said it the best. I hope y'all have an amazing holiday season. 2020 has been the absolute shits and cannot end fast enough. And let's hope that all the bullshit that happens in life happened in 2020, and 2021 will bring us all blessings, joy, and peace. Because Lord knows, I don't care what country you're in, after 2020, you deserve it.
Yeah.
So for Mike and I, till next time, adios, be safe, bye-bye, toodles. Thanks 1,000 times for supporting us. Bye-bye.